The Lyons crime family is feared across the United Kingdom. Their bitter rivalries and clashes with other gangs have racked up bodies, and the list of their crimes goes on and on. But what do we know about the Lyons crime family? How far does their influence extend, and what tragedies have they caused in the lives of innocent civilians? You will be surprised to learn the answer. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more content like this. The Lyons family is a relatively old one. It has been one of the most powerful criminal organizations in Scotland since the 1990s. The crime family started out small, but soon expanded its territories far and wide. By gaining power, Lyons have spread their influence and criminal enterprises in various countries. Today, the family operates throughout the United Kingdom, Spain, and even the United Arab Emirates. But despite holding so much territory in other countries, the Lyons call the Postle Park area of Glasgow home, since this is where the organization originates from. Generations of the crime family have lived in Postle Park since the conception of the gang, establishing it as their home turf. So who runs the entire operation? That would be Stephen Lyons. Stephen Lyons used to live in Scotland, but in 2006, he and his cousin were ambushed. A gunman took the life of his cousin. This prompted Stephen to leave Scotland and relocate to Spain. The culprits behind the assassination turned out to be two hitmen named Raymond Anderson and James MacDonald. They were convicted of the murder and sent to jail. Stephen Lyons is at the top of the Lyons family hierarchy. It is under his leadership that the group has become infamous for being extremely violent and brutal. It is thought that Stephen Lyons currently lives in Dubai. From there, he controls the Lyons gang and oversees the criminal activities conducted in his name throughout the territories under his rule. Stephen Lyons has many members in his criminal group, and one of the most recognizable members is Paul Lyons. Paul is a well-known figure in the Glasgow underworld. He was a thug for the family until his capture in 2010. At this point, he was convicted of taking the life of Mark Fleeman, a father of two. Paul had ended Fleeman's life in a car chase while on drugs. All the victim had done was gesture to him about his bad driving. He rammed into Fleeman's car on the M74 motorway in Lanarkshire, causing him to pass away. He then fled to Spain to escape justice, but authorities didn't give up easily. Paul Lyons was extradited from Spain when the police caught him at an airport in Alicante trying to meet his young son. The gangster was jailed for 12 years alongside an additional 3-year supervision period for his crimes. He was going to be released in 2022, but his parole was denied after a phone was found on him in jail. It wasn't until the death of David Lyons that the world got to see Paul Lyons once again, when he was allowed to meet David Lyons before his death to say goodbye. Now, who is David Lyons? Well, David Lyons was the grandfather of the Lyons family. He was an important part of the crime family, often referred to as the granddad of crime. David Lyons died after falling from stairs at his home in Cumbernauld. He also suffered a heart attack during his fall. At the time, he was 63 years old. David Lyons laid there for around an hour until he was found and rushed to the hospital. Members of the Lyons family gathered to say goodbye to the granddad of crime before he passed away in the hospital. You may be wondering what exactly the Lyons do anyway. Well, the Lyons are heavily involved in drug trafficking throughout their territories. You can see the greatest impact of this in Glasgow itself. The drug trafficking business of families like Lyons is fueling an epidemic in Glasgow, where drug use is already rampant. The toll for this is paid in human lives. No wonder Glasgow has the highest drug-related death rate in Europe at the moment. But that's just one of the ways the Lyons family makes money. The group also does arms trafficking, blackmailing, extortion, and money laundering. The Lyons crime family has made a name for itself thanks to their brutality and the power they hold. Murders are also high on the list of crimes the group is accused of. The assassinations the Lyons pull are often extremely violent, and that's why, even today, the group is feared by many despite its weakened state. Let's talk about some of the more high-profile crimes that the Lyons have been involved in. Kevin Gerbil Carroll was an enforcer for the Daniels gang. He was famous for kidnapping drug dealers from rival gangs and then torturing them for cash, guns, or drugs. He called these attacks alien abductions, since the victims would be found later half-naked and distraught. The Lyons, who are a rival of the Daniels, decided to execute Carroll as a way to weaken the Daniels. On January 13, 2010, Carroll was in his car when two masked men approached him. They began firing at him through the windscreen. With nothing to protect him, Carroll could only hold up the car manual to his face in a vain attempt to save himself, but the shots hit his head and chest, ending his life. It was all over in 25 seconds. The most shocking aspect is that none of this happened in a secluded place. It all happened in a busy supermarket with civilians around. It's crazy how stuff like this can happen in broad daylight. One of the attackers was later identified as William Peterson, a key lieutenant in the Lyons family. He was given a life sentence for his crime. Similarly, the attack on Stephen Bonzo Daniel was also very brutal. As we said earlier, the Daniels and Lyons are bitter rivals, so when the opportunity arrived to attack Stephen Daniel, the Lyons took it. The Lyons secretly fitted a tracker to Stephen Daniel's car. On May 2017, they pursued him, which resulted in a car chase. Eventually, the chase ended on an off-ramp. The attackers caught up to Stephen Daniel and began attacking him. They used knives and machetes to strike at his face. The details are too gory to share here, but it's sufficient to say that Stephen Daniels has deep scars all over his face now. Later on, during a trial, Stephen Daniel denied that there was any rivalry between the Daniels and Lyons. Both gangs prefer to keep their ongoing war out of the courts. So sure, the Lyons have the Daniels as their rivals, but do they have any powerful allies as well? As it turns out, Lyons' crime family is very friendly with the Kinahan cartel. The Kinahan cartel is the most powerful organized crime syndicate in Ireland. The extent of the friendship between the two groups is not known. However, it is generally believed that the Kinahan cartel backs the Lyons family. Together, both groups make for a formidable force. Their alliance makes it even more difficult for the authorities to root out the Lyons family from Glasgow. Despite having the powerful Kinahan cartel as a friend, the Lyons family is not doing too well currently. Stephen Lyons used to live in Dubai after he fled from Scotland, but according to the Glasgow Times, recent busts in Dubai have forced him to leave the country as well. This puts the Lyons family at a disadvantage since their leader has to move around so much. On top of that, a good chunk of Stephen Lyons' inner circle is either in jail or in exile. With fewer and fewer people around him to trust, it has become harder to operate the giant criminal organization smoothly. The long, drawn-out war with the Daniels will also take its toll. The situation doesn't look too good for the Lyons family. From the looks of it, the Lyons family is currently on a downward slope, but only time will tell if this criminal family will collapse or thrive once again. One thing is for certain, more blood will flow the longer criminal organizations like the Lyons family exist. That's about all. Let us know in the comments what you think.